Hey everyone, today we're going to be taking a look at the Flipside 300 backpack from Lowepro, which is a really interesting tech and camera bag. Lowepro is well known for making some really great camera gear. I actually really enjoyed using one of their other backpacks in the past, and the camera bag category is an interesting one for me as I don't use a ton of really intense camera gear. I have a more minimal setup, but I find that camera bags just offer a lot of the benefits that I normally am looking for in a tech and EDC backpacks. They're protective, usually pretty comfortable. They have interesting organizational layouts, so I was excited to have a chance to test this one out over the past couple of weeks. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about what it's been like to use it. I'll show you how I've loaded it out, walk through all the features, and I'll also talk about how it compares to some of the other similar bags that are currently on the market. Before jumping into the video, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Danny, and on this channel, we love reviewing popular travel and everyday carry gear. If you like these types of videos and you'd be interested in seeing more, please consider subscribing as it helps the channel out a lot. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump in. Starting off with the overall aesthetic, to me this has a fairly traditional camera backpack vibe, which isn't a bad thing. I think that it's a nice looking bag. It's got some modern touches. It's something that I would be comfortable using while traveling, for exploring a city. If I was using this as a daily bag, I could even see myself taking this into the office, but as I was wearing it, I definitely felt like I was using a camera bag. Just the silhouette, the fact that it's a little bit more rigid, padded, it stuck out a little bit. It just had that sort of a traditional camera bag vibe. So, something that you might want to keep in mind depending on when you're traveling, as it'll probably look like you're carrying some expensive camera gear with you. As far as the materials, the bag feels really solidly built. This exterior fabric is a 600D polyester that feels like it's going to hold up well to rougher usage and offer a decent amount of weather resistance. The bag does include a rain cover to give you some extra peace of mind if it's raining a little harder. And then it's going to come in at a little over 3 pounds, which makes sense given the padding that this bag has. It's pretty rigid all around. It holds its shape. And then you have these reinforced areas on the corners here on the bottom, at the top. And so, very solid all around. And beyond that, you have some smooth working and reliable YKK zippers. Continuing along the exterior, you do have an external water bottle pocket. This should be able to hold something like a 20-ounce water bottle. It is pretty tight, even for a water bottle of this size. You can see the elastic really stretching out there to the limit, so I wasn't able to fit my 26-ounce Yeti Rambler, and even this, over the longer term, I'd be a little worried that it might cause some damage. But for smaller water bottles, for an umbrella, or for a tripod, this should work pretty well. You have the little tripod icon here. You can pair that with the strap. You can attach it easily, so always great to have this on a camera-focused bag. Then you have a really great handle at the top. It's got this well-reinforced seat belt-like material, good cushioning here. You have an additional loop that's gonna work well for hanging the bag up, while you're going into the restroom or if you're hanging it in a closet or anything like that. If you have a ton of weight on the bag with a lot of gear, this is a little bit thinner than what I might feel comfortable hanging the bag on, so something to keep in mind. And then you have the traditional Lowepro logo on the front, which shows up pretty prominently against the contrasted kind of black background here, but that comes with the territory with the bag. And then the last thing I'll mention while we're talking about the exterior is that the bag doesn't really stand up that well on its own, given the shape. You can see that it tends to want to tip over, so I was always leaning it if I wasn't placing it on the front to open it up clamshell. Moving into the capacity, the bag comes in at about 17 to 18 liters, so it's a pretty good daily bag size. A little bit smaller than what I'm typically used to carrying, but I was able to hold the majority of the items that I would want to carry with me with a bag like this. The layout, of course, is camera focused, so it's not one of the larger open layouts that I tend to want to use. You can take the dividers out, as we'll see later in the video, but it just felt a little tight for the typical items that I would carry, but it seemed to work well for the types of gear that the bag was intended for. And because of the rigid structure that it has, even when it's empty, it does tend to stick out a little bit more than you would think maybe for an 18-liter bag, but it never felt so overwhelmingly bulky that it was uncomfortable to navigate crowded areas, jump onto public transit, or carry onto a variety of domestic and international airlines. Continuing with the harness system, so far the bag has been really comfortable to wear. I like how the straps have been implemented here. They have a nice amount of padding. It's really soft, comfortable on the inside. You have this interesting sort of mesh here to help prevent moisture from building up. The straps also have a good width to help prevent the bag from digging into your shoulders when it's a little bit more packed out. And then you have a couple of loops that'll be a good spot to maybe hang your sunglasses or clip on additional accessories. And you have an adjustable and removable sternum strap here to give you a little bit of additional support. And at the bottom of the bag, you do have the ability to add a waist strap that is included. And so this is a pretty simple strap. It's not going to remove any of the weight from your shoulders or anything like that, but it could help stabilize the bag when you're running around, riding a bike or something like that. I do really like that this is fully removable, as it's not something that I like to use. I prefer just to keep things a little more minimal. And then the back panel itself is also really well padded, very robust padding here compared even to the straps. It's a little bit thicker, and so it's well distributed. You have that same breathable sort of mesh here, and then there's also a good bit of elevation to create some air channels to give you some ventilation while you're walking around. On the back here, you also have a luggage pass-through that's going to allow you to rest this on a suitcase while traveling to save some weight on your back. This can also be used as an additional handle to pick the bag up off the ground. Jumping into the organizational options, the bag has a zippered admin pocket on the front that is going to offer some internal organization. So it has the zipper that comes around, lets you pull this flap up. You can see this rigid section here, which is great to give you some protection and structure to the bag. This compartment does go down pretty much towards the bottom of the bag, so you have some space for items that are a little bit taller. And so here, just kind of resting in the middle, I have my sunglasses case. And then at the bottom, I have a couple of additional items. I have a packable tote bag from Peak Design. And then I also have my Tom Bin Ghost Wheel pouch, but any sort of slim pouch should be able to fit here, or maybe a jacket. And then you also have a couple of slip pockets here on the back wall that are actually pretty tall. And so in these, I currently have my Apple AirPods and my Magic Mouse. And on the other one, I have a cable to charge my tablet and my phone. And you also have a lanyard with a clip that's going to be a good spot for your keys. I have a little small tape measure that I've been starting to carry around with me recently, which attaches on there nicely. And then before getting into the main compartment, you do have side access, so you can get to your camera quickly if you configure the divider so that you can swing the bag around, grab your device, and then you can put it away just as quickly. So always great to have that on a camera. But as seems to be common nowadays with these types of bags, you can lay this down flat and then open the compartment up fully so that you can have access to all of your camera stuff and other accessories. And so jumping into the back first, you have a really nice tech area. So you have a mesh zippered pocket that's going to be great for smaller, thinner accessories. You have the ability to see into the inside here. At the moment, I have my Peak Design mobile tripod, and then I also have a retractable USB-C cable, but there was still plenty of leftover space. And then you have dedicated tablet and laptop sleeves. I like that these are actually pulled up off the bottom of the ground. Always great to see. And they are secured with this Velcro strap that kind of covers both. Interesting system here. You can just lift this up a little bit to get to your tablet and then fully remove it if you want to get to your laptop. Again, like the little icons to indicate what goes where. And so you should be able to fit something like an iPad mini in here very comfortably. Even with the case, I was able to squeeze this in with the laptop, and maybe even a 10-inch tablet can fit in there, especially if your laptop isn't super bulky. No fleece lining on this compartment, but it does have a nice bit of padding. Same for the laptop. You can see how thick this padding is here. The sleeve itself also feels protective, again, pulled up off the bottom of the ground. And on the company side, I believe that this said this was up to a 13-inch device, but this is my 14-inch MacBook Pro, and it was able to fit in there comfortably. I was a little bit worried about that, but no issues so far, and then very easy to get my device out when I need it. Now with the compartment empty, you can get a better look at the inside and how much this comes up. So if you happen to have a slightly thicker device, it should be able to fit in there. It might just start to press up against the tablet, so you want to keep that in mind, but definitely feels like my tech items are going to be protected while I'm running around throughout the day. And then moving to the main section of the bag, as a camera bag, this has the adjustable divider so that you can really configure the layout depending on what you need to carry. So of course, this is focused on people who probably need to carry multiple lenses, have a camera body here that you can easily grab. You can configure it so that if you want to get to it from the side, you can. I don't currently have it fully configured for my camera. I left kind of a slot here because my camera's pretty small. I could toss it in here, and then the rest of the items are the other sort of camera gear items that I might typically use, as well as some other stuff that I just like to have with me, you know, that you'll see in most of my loadouts regardless. And so starting off here in the main section, I have my DJI Mavic Mini with its hard shell case. I was able to adjust it so that it could fit in there. And then here at the bottom, I tucked away the rain cover that's actually included with the bag. And that's set up near the side access compartment because I might actually grab that pretty regularly, as well as my GoPro, which I have here, as that's one of the cameras that I might be more likely to use while I'm out and about. And I also threw in my Matador Nano Dry shower towel because it's just always a nice accessory to have with me. And you can start to see here the dividers. Very easy to adjust them, but they feel high quality. There's a good bit of padding here. They're fairly flexible. With these camera style bags, it's really important for me to be able to adjust things without getting frustrated. And I think the bag does a good job there. Very easy to do so. Then you have these orange style dividers here in the middle, which have an interesting middle pocket. Seems like these are meant to hold a memory card. It feels a little big for a memory card. I'd be worried that it could get lost. So I didn't use it for that, but you know, nice little touch there. I put everything close together just to adapt to the items that I might pack. And then where I had extra space, I just tossed in little items like my nail clipper set. And then on the other side, I have the battery for my camera with its charger. And then I have a headlamp, which is always helpful to have. And at the bottom, I have the Peak Design Carryology Essentials slide strap collaboration. I was really impressed with how useful this camera strap was. So if I'm somewhere and I want to leave the bag behind, just wear the camera, you know, especially if I'm using a larger camera or something like that, helpful to have that with me. And so, yeah, pretty simple sort of layout compared to what I typically have in these bags, but it's because of having all of these dividers, you're a little bit more limited in what you can store. But for camera gear, makes a ton of sense. And then if I really wanted to, I could take all of these out and just use it as a regular bag. But I don't always like to do that with these style of bags because, you know, this is what they're designed to be used for. And then one thing that I really love about this one is you have this removable pouch at the top. I left this attached, but it's perfectly designed to kind of slot in here at the top. It's a little bit rounded. You have mesh zippered opening here. And then you have a good bit of volume for any quick access items that you want to grab near the top, accessories so that, you know, you can pull this out while you're working and have access to your cables and chargers. I have an HDMI cable, I have a USB-C cable, and then my USB-C hub that I use to charge all of my devices. And, you know, I think that it's really cool that this is actually included with the bag. You can leave it in, you can take it out, use it with something else. So, you know, I think that this is a really cool, flexible layout, very much in line with some of the other great camera bags that I've used. You know, and if it matches your setup, I think that the quality here is going to be great. The style, the layout, the tech protection. They do offer this in a slightly larger size, I believe. So if you have even more gear that you need to carry with you, or you're a little bit taller, you know, that is an option. But if you just want a really solid, compact, flexible kind of EDC camera bag, this is going to be a great option to take a look at. And so to wrap up, it's been a pretty great experience testing out the Flipside 300 backpack over the past couple of weeks. You can currently purchase this on the company's site. It's going to come in at around $185 at the time of filming, which is definitely a bit of an investment. You are getting a really solidly built bag with a nice feature set, but there's going to be some other great bags in this price range that may be worth considering. And so as I was testing this out, one of the first bags this made me think of is the Brevity Jumper Photo, which I talk about a lot on the channel. It's one of my favorite more minimal camera bags. I really like the aesthetic of that one. It just looks like kind of a simple, classic, everyday bag, but it has an adjustable section for your camera gear. You have the side quick access pocket. You also have a nice bit of organization built into the front. You have a compartment that's dedicated for your everyday carry essentials, a separate laptop compartment so it's easy to get your device in and out. Luggage pass-through, you have some compression straps on the bottom so that you can hold a tripod, water bottle pocket. So, you know, really just checking off a lot of the same boxes as this one here. And if you're looking for something with a simpler aesthetic that's still gonna be able to handle your camera gear, that's gonna be an excellent option to take a look at. Another bag this made me think of is the Peak Design Everyday Backpack Zip, which is a really sleek and versatile tech and camera bag. I really love the aesthetic of that one. And the design of the zipper and main compartment is really interesting. You can get into the bag from the sides. It can open up fully clamshell. It has the adjustable dividers on the inside, external water bottle pockets, luggage pass-through, a good laptop area, And so just, kind of covering all the bases as far as what you would want out of a tech and camera bag. Really solid build quality, weather resistant. And so if you have a little bit of a higher budget and you're looking for a flexible and great looking bag, that's gonna be an excellent option to take a look at. And then the last option that I'll mention here is the Moment Everything Backpack. I really like the approach that they took with that bag. It works great as an everyday bag. It's got a very subdued aesthetic, really nice feature set, comfortable harness system, dedicated laptop compartment, pretty simple organizational layout, but enough for everything that I typically like to carry. And then the aesthetic is just great. It reminds me a little bit of an Evergoods bag. But Moment also has a really great ecosystem of accessories for when you want to use that more as a camera bag versus an everyday bag. So it has, the cube that you can put on the inside with the adjustable dividers for all of your camera gear. And it also works great as a travel bag. So, really just versatile. And if you're like me and you want something that isn't always gonna necessarily be a dedicated camera bag, but that still has those capabilities, and that's gonna be one of the best options to keep in mind. With that being said, the Flipside 300 backpack holds up pretty well against all those options. And if you're looking for a comfortable, durable camera and everyday bag that's gonna have a flexible layout and a nice feature set, then that's gonna be a really interesting option to take a look at. And I'm definitely curious to hear what you all think of the Flipside backpack and how it compares to some of the other popular tech and camera bags that are currently on the market. And if there's any similar options that you think that I should check out, as always, please let me know in the comments. And I want to thank the company for sending the bag for me to test out, and to you guys for watching and supporting the channel. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos, and we'll see you in the next one.